Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Pointy Not Sharp. Today we're taking a look at the modern Greek G3 bayonet. In my opinion, probably the best of all the G3 bayonets I've seen. I'm surprised for Greece. I really like it. They've actually made a really nice bayonet. Anyway, these are made for the Greek GMS G3 rifles or any other G3 rifles they have in stock. It will fit all of them. And they're made by EBO, which is a Greek company. I'm not even going to try and pronouncing their name in the Greek alphabet, but this is what their Greek alphabet name translates to in the English language. And they were made from about 1990. We really don't know when production started. And they stopped production probably around 2021. That's when they discontinued the rifle in service. But the G3 is still in Greek service today with their reserves. So they've got a mix of arms like G36 and M16s and G3s and all kinds of things. So they're a bit all over the place. But these bayonets are still in service with the Greek National Guard now. And hey, they're starting to be surplused at the moment. We're seeing more and more of them pop up in the market, which is fantastic because it's a really high quality product. And as collectible bayonets go, I reckon it's one of the better ones out there. Anyway, we'll jump into the history very quick. And there isn't a terrible lot of history surrounding them. In 1979, Greece adopted the G3. And they were awarded a contract to start manufacturing them domestically by HK. Initially, the first batch of bayonets they made were essentially the same as the German G3 bayonet with the black plastic handle and the ridges on them. There are a couple of minor variations and differences, but I'll get my hands on one of those and I'll do a later video when I can track one down. And as well as those early G3 bayonets, they also had a KCB 77 style of G3 bayonet with the G3 adapter at the back. Because it's a G3 bayonet, I'm going to turn it upside down because that's how they fit. They fit above the barrel of a rifle, so that's probably more correct. Anyway, in 1990, they started updating their bayonet fleet, and this version here was brought into service, and absolutely fantastic piece. In 2021, the G3, as I previously said, was removed from active service and relegated to the National Guard or reserves only. And these are really starting to pop up all over the place at the moment, predominantly in Europe. There's a couple of retailers selling a bunch of them. There's a couple of sellers on eBay popping up with batches of 5 or 10 at a time. And yeah, they're definitely starting to come up more and more. And I hope we see huge numbers of them and they come down in price, because a couple of years ago this was like $500. Now they're coming down to like the 300 mark, and if we get enough of them on the market, hopefully they're nice and cheap, everyone can get their hands on them, and really nice product. Anyway, that's the history. There's not a terrible lot there, unfortunately, but we'll jump into the construction, and I really like it. We've got the classic M3 fighting knife style of blade with the full true edge, half false edge, culminating in a spear point. It's a classic blade profile that you see from World War II onwards. You know, all of the American bayonets except the M9, all the G3 bayonets. I mean, even the early FEL bayonets, the FEL A and FEL B, have this style of blade. You just see it again and again. Moving down, we've got a simple cross piece. I won't call it a cross guard because that is not protecting you from anything. And we've got these two little divots on either side. Those are actually retainers because the Scabbard has a locking mechanism, a little spring-loaded catch that falls into that detent and locks the bayonet into the Scabbard, like that. And you can't really see it, but we've got a leaf spring just here, and then whoops, when I pull it out, we've got that little leaf spring just there, and that just sits in our little locking detent. We've also got a muzzle ring, and that'll be a 22mm muzzle ring because all of the NATO muzzle rings are 22mm to comply with the STANAG, or standardized agreement. Essentially, all NATO rifles have the same size muzzle device, 22mm, so they can accommodate a NATO standard rifle grenade. Not that I think anyone actually uses them, so whatever. Moving down, we've got a little metal plate. You don't really see this used for anything here. I'm not sure if it's part of the integrity or if it's made for marking numbers or anything on it. We've got the serial number on the blade, so other similar bayonets, you often see serial numbers on this plate. I'm not sure what it's for. On the Swedish version, that's where they put their property mark, their 3 crowns. But moving down, we've got a really nice solid grip, and I'm not sure exactly what it's made of. It's very heavy. I'm assuming that's because it's got a very thick tang and heavy pommel. It feels a little bit squishy, but it's not as soft as rubber. It feels softer than polymer. Some kind of plastic, I'm not sure exactly what it is. And it's got a very unique profile. So we've got a flat top, and then sort of got like a, well, you can see for yourself, we've got textured grips on this, on one side there, and then nowhere else. And the bottom, there you go. Very cool. Moving down to our pommel. That just plugs into the front of a G3, and it also fit any of the HK rifles, like the HK33 as well. They're all made to take the same style of bayonet. And it's interesting, every G3 bayonet, well, most of them have the bayonet lug in a different spot. I've seen them in the 9, the 3, the 12. This one appears to be about the 4 or 5 o'clock. Keeping in mind the bayonet's fitted above the muzzle. And yeah, about 4 o'clock there. Press button's pretty simple. Just got a little pin. There's likely a coil spring under there, and then when you depress this, the lug disengages. It doesn't feel particularly good. Maybe it needs a drop of oil. It feels a little bit crunchy and it's got a bit of a click to it, as you can hear. Got some little texturing on the front there, but very simple and likely very easy to replace if it breaks. Just knock that pin out. That's the bayonet. I'll move down to the scabbard very quick, and it's very different to any other G3 scabbard. So I've got a very lightweight green plastic body. It's open at the bottom, which I assume allows water and grime to be cleaned and drained out. Then we've got a hole for a leg strap, which is really not needed because it's not very long. Moving up, we've got a metal collar that goes around the top of the body and connects to the frog. And that's also where our leaf spring for our attachment device is. Our throat or mouth is just plastic, so it's made of 2 pieces that are connected together, or maybe that's just a mold mark in the middle, I don't really know. And I'm assuming, you know what, no, there wouldn't be a leaf spring inside because we have our locking mechanism to maintain it, so you don't need that retention. Moving up to our frog, I know my colour is a bit off because of my lighting. I've got the window open, there's a lot of blue light from the sky coming in. But this is a very dull, drab, sort of grey-green colour frog, very Greek, like their other frogs. It's retained by 2 rivets. We've got some stitching, we've got nice big belt loop, hilt strap, and a metal snap. The manufacturing on the ends of the snap pieces here is pretty average. That's more what I'd expect to see coming out of Greece. But the rest of the bayonet is really high quality, and this is a very sturdy frog. Definitely the heaviest of all the G3 bayonets I've held, even the longer versions, and just feels very sturdy and very solid in the hand. If I had to use a G3 bayonet, of all of them I've handled, this would be the one. I really like it. Now, all that's left to talk about are the markings, and we only have 2, and you can see them both right now. On the left, on the handle here, we have EBO, which is the manufacturer or the manufacturer's logo. So we've got the E on the left, B in the middle, O on the right. Then we have a serial number just here on the blade. Now, as for how many of these were produced, there aren't any official numbers online that I can quote. Here we've got a serial number of 224,000, so at least that many. And I'd speculate that after a quick look online, the current composition of the Greek military, they've got 142,000 active members and 221,000 reserves. So Assuming that those numbers haven't changed too much over the years, they've probably produced at least that many rifles and bayonets. But keep in mind, they were earlier producing another version of the G3 bayonet, so there might not be as many bayonets as there are rifles. There might be a whole bunch of the old ones. That said though, bayonets are a consumable item. They have a service life and they break. They get used in training very hard. They do wear out and they do get replaced. So for all I know, maybe there was more. But if information ever comes to light regarding how many of these were actually produced, I'll chuck it in the description below. If you have any information about them, please feel free to comment. I'm sure we'd all love to hear from you, and cite any sources if you got them as well, so that we can all do our own research and delve into the topic, because it is very interesting. That's all I've got for you today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I've got lots more interesting bayonet content coming. I've got more Greek bayonets, G3 bayonets, and bayonets in general. That's all I've got for you. Thanks for watching.